Uh, so we created this spicy sauce app, right? And we did Rails G resource on the sauce for the sauce model. We have the 3 attributes. And can anyone tell me what Rails G resource will build? This is important as you start naming these things, because everything is no longer an acceptable answer. Almost everything. Very good.
Everything except for what scaffold.
Warmer. All right, for those taking notes, right, it will build the model. Actually, no, just so I'm not it. Okay. It builds the model, right? It builds the controller. It will build an empty views folder. It will build the migration. Inside your routes, it will put resources. It will not migrate for you. Cool? Nice. All right. Too easy. Let's keep going. All right, so I ran the migration, right? Boom. What else? Like test, yeah, but what? Okay, so yeah, let's test and let's create some seed data, right? How do I, Rails S? Rails C for seeds. That's not what it stands for. It's console. Cool. So we have sauces. Sauce. Sauce.new, in case I forgot, which I did. And how do I create this? Okay. What is the brand for this first sauce? I knew that was coming up, and I don't know how to spell it, so I'm going to put rooster sauce. Right? I knew it was coming up. I was like, oh, that's the first one. It's going to get me good. How spicy is this? It depends on who you ask, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, for me, it's like a 6. Okay, sure. 5.5. Sure. Just kidding. 5 is fine. We'll keep it neutral. Is that all we put? Oh, flavor. Sorry, flavor. What is this? Racha. Sriracha. Thank you. All right, cool. Look at this. Insert into the table sauces the following attributes: brand, flavor, and heat. They created that and updated that with the values to come from the params, the question mark, right? For the brand, put rooster sauce. For the flavor, put sriracha. Can you feel like you can read this? The created at is going to be like date time now. Updated at also date time right now. And this is what it creates. This is literally, this is like the SQL query. Cool? All right, so we made one. Should we make another one? Sure. What do we got here? What is this brand? Tabasco. Right? TM. That's the move. Here, ready? TM. That's the move. Google. That may or mess up the database, but who cares? What's the heat on Tabasco? That's like a 1, right? Tabasco's like hot sauce, but I mean, is it though? Right? What's the flavor for this? What does this taste like? Right? Tastes like salt? Vinegar? What? I don't know. Soy sauce? 10. Good to know. I don't know. What does this taste like? Right? It's like, I don't know. Not Cowboy Pete, right? I don't know. Oh, snap. Snot? Did you not like that? Huh. Oh, I missed the comma. Ah, there it is, right in the database. Oh, yeah. All right, cool. That's good enough, right? There's no real relationships in here. I think we're good with that. So let's get out of here. Let's start some roles. Let's start the server. And let's make some views. Right? You guys remember that? Let's buy some shoes.
I have a quick question about the timestamps.
Yeah.
So like when you generate a new migration after you run your original resource, I noticed, or for me, it didn't create a timestamp. Should I get in the habit? Like if I generate a migration to add a column, should I add timestamps to that?
If you generate a migration to add a new column, the table will already exist and the create at update at should be there. Okay, I don't know what that is. We'll go to Flavortown, I promise. Don't worry. All right, so in the sauces controller, what do we need here? Let's just knock out the 7 restful, right? And then let's keep going. So what do you guys want to start with? If you put def and you hit tab, it'll finish the rest of it and highlight this so then you can just write whatever you want, right? Index, cool. Yeah, I know you guys love it. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop. Cool. Little show action, little new action, little create action. Say it with me now. Bodegas. Yes. Yes, very good. Cool. So in the index, right, what do we need from the model? All the sauces, right? Saucy. Saucies. Right? Is what? Cool, smart. And what's the response? Cool. Great. And what is show? Where does the ID come from? Who is comfortable where this params ID comes from? All right, sounds good to me. Cool. All right, what else? What do we respond with? Under show action. Cool, let's do this new. And what is from the model? Sure. Yeah, why do we do sauce.new?
Because it will give us space for the form that we were rendering.
Right, in new, likely, we're probably going to be using form for, and we need this shell of an object in order to create the form for. Otherwise, without this, we'll have to use form tag. And that's fine, but form for is there for a reason. Cool? Great. Something I want to show you while I actually have all of you. Boop, boop, boop. The toys control. Cool. All right, that was a lot of weird code. Cool, let's just take a quick tangent since I forgot to mention this. Do you remember student.all? All right, this right here is interacting directly with the database from the view. As we talked about, it should not be the case. The controller should be handling it. So I want something where I want all the students. So inside the new, oh dang, the zoom's not gonna work. Inside the new, right, for my toid, I can go to my toys controller. Inside my new, I can just go bloop, and just put at students equals to. Yeah? Therefore, in my new, I can probably go bloop. Yeah? Cool. I just wanted to make sure I showed that to you. Sorry, weird tangent. Over. Bloop. Right back. Yes?
If you like loaded that page and then just kept it for long enough, like open for long enough on like someone else's web page, could you end up actually like killing the database by like causing an error because like then they would have modified the database in another way? Okay, to reframe, like when you type at student equals student.all, you're setting an instance method to access the database directly, or you're setting a variable that has like an instance of the database?
An instance of the database.
So then if I kept it open and then say later on you deleted Vicky from it, and then I hit submit on Vicky, like I would get an error. Cool.
Yeah. Did anyone need me to go over that, or you want me to go over that? Okay. Basically, what he's saying is, if he has a web page open, and the drop down still had like Vicky in there, but somebody else went to the website, an admin, and removed Vicky from the database. Why they would do that, who knows, but we'll make them pay. Right? And then while you still have Vicky on the dropdown, you haven't refreshed yet, it's still there, right? And then you hit submit. It'll try to create this thing in the database, and at that time, at the submit button, it will read to the database again, and it will find that Vicky's gone, and then it'll throw you an error. It'll give you a 500 error, which is the server side error, 500 status code.
But would student.all do that?
Student.all do what?
Would it get that same error since it's interacting directly with the database?
No, student.all will pull from the database. If there's a ID2 missing, it'll just give you 1, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's not an open connection.
That is
It's
correct.
not software, it's just like,
No.
yeah.
Yeah. Is that fair? Are you guys okay with that? Okay, good deal. So let's continue, right? Cool. So we're in the new, right? And then what happens is create at Souse. Dot create with the, right? So we need some sort of strong params in here, right? Right, and then we're just gonna make it here, boop, boop, boop. Cool, and what is this? Cool, and what is this gonna do? Params dot. Do we know what we're trying to require right now? Of? Key of sauce. Why key of sauce? Yes, the idea here is that what I'm trying to avoid is this memorization of what's happening here, which is why I'm pausing at certain moments. Because Rails is very easy to pattern match, super easy to pattern match. The idea is that if you pattern match your way through Rails, who are you, kind of like hurting in the long run in terms of your learning, right? Like, yeah, you can make it work, but do you understand? I'm always emphasizing the understanding because that's super important. So the idea here is we require sauce because in the form 4, what does it build for you? The nested params hash, right, with this sauce object. So that's why there's that nested params. Is that, we cool? Yes, thumbs up, thumbs down. Awesome. Cool. And what are the attributes? Flavor, brand, heat. I think that's it. Heats? Cool. And what's the response? Oops. Cool. Let's go over the difference as we get through this, yeah? It redirect to where? Sauces. Cool. Just the index is fine. So let's do this. Let's actually finish this, and then we'll kind of get back to the cruddy actions. In the views, in my sauces, I'll have like an index, ERB, and I'll just put, this is the index. Cool. Look up, look up. Oh, no. Look up, look up, look up, look up. Oh, embarrassing. Slash, cool. And then we need a little show action, right? Little show action. Yeah, I'm saying. And then finally we need what?
New.
Right? We just built that. Cool. And this is going to be make a new sauce. DM. Right? And inside the new, what are we building? Form? Like a regular HTML form? Okay, okay. Bloop. And what is this form for? Sauce. And what are the attributes of sauce? Flavor. Okay. The what? Okay. And then the Do you want the text field as heat? I think it's number. I think it's number. We ran into this problem yesterday and I totally forgot. Oops. Cool. Look. Just clean that up a little bit. Look. Yeah, let's see if this works. How do I actually get here to this new? How would I have the user see this new page? Where should I go? Okay. So let's do this for now, since we want to get into best practices. And that is bloop, 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 bloop. Right? We have index, oops, show, new, and create. We don't have edit or delete yet. I mean, we do, but they don't really do anything. Cool? So we'll kind of just leave those alone for now. Is that all right? All right. So what does this build for me? What is the route? That's right, get. Pointing to the sauces controller. Yep, cool. So far so good. And I think it actually does this as well, like new sauce path. Great, smart. Well, localhost 3000 /sauces /new, which is what the route builds. Noise. Oh God, what a terrible user experience. It's fine. All right, let's do some labels. Yeah, that's just a terrible user experience. We won't allow that. F.label, and it's going to be for the flavor. Bloop, 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 bloop. Oh no, that was weird. No, get out of here. Bloop. This is brand, and this is heat, and these are just break tags. Bloop. What a break tag does is it will just make a brand new line. Like so, instead of keeping it all like one line, it breaks and then makes a new line. That's all. Okay. All right. So what flavor would we like?
Heat.
Right, great. So what if we did this? Let's check the Rails logs. Right? So this is the Rails logs. Right? Should I be able to create a sauce right now? Look at that. Trash. It's gross. If I were to even pop into my console and I were to check my sauce.last, the last one I made, look at this. Gross. Gross. Do we want that? No. What we want to do is we want to control the type of data that our users get. Right? We want to make sure that only the data that we want to go in the database goes in. That's basically what validations are. So how do we do Rails validations? How can we prevent, say, the brand or the flavor to make sure that it's never blank? Right. Where would we write this code? In the model, right? Because it doesn't make sense to write this validation in a controller or in a view. So the model itself. So in the, whoops, ironic. In the model itself, right, I have sauce, cool. So besides like the has many belongs to, the many to many, the through, all that stuff, there's also the validations that go in here. Does anyone want to start me since we all did the validations labs? And if we didn't, then we'll just look it up together. Okay. Validate or validates? Wow. Wow, 10 points to Slytherin house over here. Jeez. Okay. And what do we validate? Sure, brand. Got him. What else? And flavor? It's validate it all. All right. Cool. Let's just do the brand for now. All right. And how do we make sure that it's not blank? present true like this. That looks a little off. Does anyone know what it looks like? Does that look right? No? You sure? Okay, I'm trusting you on this one. Okay. I'm only saying that because I actually forgot the syntax. I'm literally trusting you on this one. So if I create the sauce, what should happen? Okay, it should in fact bring me to the index. And I should see, oh, there it is. Roll back. Good. Perf. Right? So that means that if I now check, little reload action, if I were to check the sauce.last, it's still the third sauce, sauce.all, whoops, right? There is only 3 sauces. The fourth one never got created. Cool? Great. So, how do we let the user know that it didn't save? Because when I create, it just brings me right to the index. As far as I know as a user, did that work? Yeah. But we want to make sure the user knows, like, yo, actually it didn't. So how can we do that? Yes, Google. Yeah. This is what we want to do, right? The idea here is if this sauce creates, then show them like the index or the show page or whatever. If it doesn't, throw them right back to the new, but tell them why it didn't work. Right? That's just what it sounds like in pseudocode. So a little bit of this, right? If the sauce saves, wow, out of context, it sounds weird, right? If the sauce saves, then throw the user to the index page, right? Or whatever page you want. Here, ready? We'll do this. Bloop, bloop, right? Like whatever you want, like index, right? Interpolate that. Otherwise, let them know what time it is, and then show them the new page again with the errors, right? Like let them know what they did wrong, right? Let them know the errors, right? And show them the new page again, but with the errors. Cool? This is like the idea. So we have the power of writing if statements. So this create action. What does create do? It does create a record in the database, and there's a poor question on my half. It executes a new and a save. So what we want to do is, if this creates, right, at sauce, this will run new and save. If the sauce, that's weird. Do I use sauce in this view? Am I rendering a view here? No. So do I need at sauce? No. The instance variable is only for the views. If I'm going to display something in the view. Here, this does a redirect, which will give me a new request that goes to index, and then add sauces is created. I don't actually ever really need or use this. So I don't need and shouldn't create an instance variable for it. So if the sauce is valid, right, did it save? So what we could do is we could do this. Ready? We can do saucy sauce equals to sauce.create, passing in nothing for the brand, maybe just the heat at 9. Didn't like that. So what if I do the saucy sauce? Was it valid? Oops. That was weird.
Put an E in there.
Huh?
You put an E in saucy in the second one.
Golly. Cool. Thank you. I was like, yo, that should have worked. Thank you. This is not valid. It didn't actually save to the database. So this right here, valid, right? What does this question mark indicate to you? A Boolean, right? And if statements are conditionals. They work on a Boolean. So if this is true, then do something, right? But if it's false, do this else. Yeah? Question?
At what point is it checking if it's valid or not? At the new point or when it's saved?
It's a good question. The question is like, when does it actually check whether or not it's valid? Active record is magic in the sense that when you create new, does that save to your database? When you do .new? No. It's only when you do the .save will it attempt to store into the database. So let's take a look. Ready? If I do sauce.new, is any SQL run? Is there anything being injected into the database? No, but if I run the create, it immediately attempts to save into the database. If I were to say saucysauce.save, it's going to try to hit the database again. So let's take a look at what save returns. What is the return value of save? So save, if it does not work, will return a Boolean. If it does work, it'll just, I believe it returns the object. It does not return true. It doesn't return the keyword true. It just returns the object. And what do we know about truthiness in Ruby? If you just have an object, is that considered truthy? True or false? It's considered true. So that's why you can use .save here. And so you can either do create.valid, or what you can do is the exact same thing where you'll do this sauce.new, passing in these sauce params, right? And this time we'll just call it s, because I'm lazy. And then s.save. So this will work effectively the same way. There's literally no space or time, complexity, optimization here. You're not saving the world. It's just which one reads better to you. This is a complete developer decision. And very likely, the app that you're working on, the developer has already decided and be like, do it this way. And you'd be like, roger that. But if you're in a startup and you're creating your own app for the first time, the choice is yours. And yours alone. Unless you have partners, and in which case you'll just decide. But either way, it's whatever you want to do. Both of these are exactly the same. Did I answer your question? I feel like it didn't, but it might have.
I get over it.
Okay, but did I answer it though? Are you? Okay. I just want to make sure that, people get their questions answered. Otherwise, people stop asking questions and they go, he's not going to answer it, whatever, and they stopped. So either way, I like this. So this is just what we're going to go with, all right? I like it like this. Cool. If it's valid, what do you want to do? Yeah, throw them to here, right? The index. Else, what do we want to do? Right, we want something like, let's follow this exactly, right? We want the errors in the view. How can I get something in the view? Sure, render. And what do I want to render? The new page, right? How do I pass data into the view? Instance, right? So this is going to be the errors, right? Right. It could be anything you want. Here, I'm just going to put errors. So far, so good. And what this is going to hold is there is something here, right? So we have saucy sauce. Cool. It attempted to save, right? See how you have the data that's actually in here? And then it rolled back. If it attempted to save, then attached to it, when it gets kicked back from the server, it'll run the validations against it. And so the validations will tell you something. Saucy sauce has errors. Okay? Okay. Active model errors. Active record is powerful. It'll tell you what the messages are. And for the attribute brand, it says cannot be blank. Can A be blank? Right? So we can say, because this is kind of like not super readable, there's a way we can actually ask for what the full messages are. Boom. And if you're confused as to what this is, you can always go, bloop. What's the class? It's actually an array, which is money, super money. So, dot errors, dot full messages. Sauce, which is what we attempted to save in the database, dot errors, dot full messages, is going to be what data structure? A string, an array, a hash, a number, a float, a fixed num, right? You don't like that? Cool. Let's get rid of this. That means in the new, I have access to errors if it fails to save. Does that make sense? So here's what I'm thinking. Inside new, I can just do some unordered list, and then I can do at errors dot each do with the error, little end action, bloop, bloop. Cool. Then I'll just make a list, brand new list item, and say what the error is. Remember, this is what type of data structure? An array, which means can I call each on it? So what is the error here? What is this? All right, we can always check, right? What is the first object? Ooh, huh. Class? Huh. No biggie. So I'm just making a list item with this string. But it needs to be Ruby interpolated. Cool. Only me and you think that's funny, so I have to like stop that joke. I like it. But either way, cool. What do you think will happen when I load this new page?
You'll get an error for lack of sauce, right?
Yes, but not for that reason. Think about it, right? When I see the new page, the first thing it's going to do is go, hey, there's a p tag here. Make a new sauce. Bet. I'm going to see this unordered list. Cool. I'm going to say for each of the errors, I'm going to iterate through and show them. The problem is the first time I get this page, do errors exist? What is errors right now the first time I see this page? What kind of error do you get when you get no? Yes. No method each for nil class. Common error. Let's take a look. Sauce is new. Wow. Wow. Dang it. I was going to zoom and then it just was. I might get rid of AirPlay. I need the zoom. All right. So does everyone understand this? Like why this happened? Because the first time it loads, like, how can it actually have any errors the first time it loads? That's wild. So what we want to do is known as nil wrapping. So we want to protect it. If at errors, right, I guess maybe like .any or .exists or whatever, right, the idea here is you want to make sure you check to see, if there are errors that exist. Remember, at errors will be what right now? Nil, which evaluates to true or false. So we could take advantage of the fact that nil is falsy and simply write if errors, then do this. Otherwise, do nothing. There is no else statement here. So if I refresh, should be fine. If I hit create sauce, what's going to happen is, let's go back, get rid of this. If I hit create sauce, it'll hit this create action because that form will post to /sauces, which the controller action would be the sauces controller hitting the create action. I'm going to attempt to save. Will it be valid? Nay, right? Can they?
Quick question on that. Is there any like underlying database difference whether you do it that way or do like undo and then a save inside the valid or no? It's like really equivalent.
It's exactly equivalent because remember, create is going to be the new and the save. And then if you're just running save here, it's doing the same thing. So will this pass? Will this run true or false? False, right? So that means it's going to go here. It will now create the errors. And then inside the new, do I have access to @errors? Yeah, great. So if I were to hit create sauce, bloop. What happened here? First argument in form cannot contain nil or empty. Who here feels confident that they know why this happened? Cool, Nikki, why did this happen?
Because we made sauce into just like an ordinary variable where you look at new, we make an instance variable sauce.new. Now when you iterate the new version, we don't have access to a sauce.new.
Yeah, to sum up his answer, right, which is a good answer and correct. When we render new, let's take a look at this. Cool. Let's take a look at what is happening bloop, right here. Ready? So this is the importance of the render. Can you guys still see this? Because I need as much of this as possible. All right, can you see this here? Yep. Actually, we don't need this space really. And then this is the Ed Team Wiki. Oop. Cool. This is the toids. Just getting rid of all this. All right, that's enough. Here we go. We'll just do a little this action. All right, so I'm trying to get like all of this in here. All right, is this all right? Cool. Sorry, it's important that you see everything happening. I wish I could. So let's take a look and let's go back to this. The first time I hit sauce new, I do a get to /sauces new. There's no question as to what's happening, right? Get to /sauces new. Does that route exist? Yes. What controller action does that point to? New. Inside new, I do @sauce is sauce.new because exactly what we said. The form for inside the new will require it. So far, so good. Great. Back in the sauce controller, it renders new. Check this out. Get to new. Got it. Processing sauces controller new. It's literally what the route tells it to do. And then it will render sauces new. And then say, cool, status 200. Okay. Now, let's take a look at what happens when I submit. We agree that the create fails. We also agree that it will not hit this. So else, I'm doing @errors. So errors exist. And then I render new. Inside here, does @sauce equals sauce.new exist? No. So when I create sauce, let's take a look at what happens. Sauce doesn't exist, right? It does not pull in this because of scope. The def new contains @sauce equals sauce.new. And it does not exist here. So let's take a look at what render does. Let's scroll all the way up. We were good up until this point. Yeah? Yeet? All right. I started the post to /sauces, which is what the form submit does. Yeah? Okay, great. It tells me sauces controller create. This is literally what the routes will tell it. The first thing it sees is, here are the params. I try to save. Whoop! Slow down with that. Name cannot be blank. And then it will immediately render sauce new. Because that's what I told it to do. I told it to render new. Right? And then inside the new, it says, hey, 500 errors. Something went wrong with the server because @sauce, the first argument cannot be nil or empty. So how can I fix that? I'm going to do something like @sauce equals to sauce.new. I can just add this in here. If I refresh, bloop, bloop, bloop. Actually, let's go back and hit refresh. Cool. I hit refresh, I did a get to new, and then it rendered sauces. If I create, I should do a post to sauces, everything fails, and then it renders new, status 200 okay. Because @sauce exists when I render new. Are there any questions on that? No. And then, inside the new, do I have errors? Right, and there it is. Bloop. And those are the errors. That's how you display errors. So far, so good. Okay. Now, here is what I want to explain to you. All right, we used render here. Because we used render, this literally says, I'm going to get the new template and show it immediately with the information that I have. What I want to do is reuse this new, because inside the new, I've already written @sauce equals sauce.new. So what I want to do is, how can I reuse this method? I need the controller action to point to this new. So what I'm going to do is go bloop, little redirect action to the new sauce path. What is this as a string?
Sauce/sauces/new.
Right? Cool. So new sauce path. Do I need to put an ID here? ID, do I need to put an ID here? Why? Right, /sauces/new does not require an ID. There's no like interpolated ID there. So the helper doesn't need one. So, yeah, we can get rid of this. Boop, boop. Gone. Because I don't need this, because when it redirects, it will hit this method again and see this and then render new. So let's see what happens. I'm going to start over by going to, whoops. I'm going to start over. Cool? Watch this. I refreshed, right? So I did a get to sauces new. If I hit create sauce, this is what happens. Started the post. So far, so good. Fails to save. And then it redirects, because I literally told it to redirect, right? You see the code right here. Redirect to sauces new. Status 300. In the 300 series, it means redirect. And it started a brand new get request. Brand new get request to sauces new. And it worked, because when I did this, I did a brand new get request to sauces new. What controller action does sauces new take me to? What controller action does get to sauces new take me to? Ah, dang the zoom. Sauces new. Is the light, do you want me to turn the light off? I don't know if you can really see this. All right. Turn it off or leave it? Okay. I've been like coding blindly this whole time. Sorry. So remember, a brand new request, it redirected, right? Get to sauces/new. A get to sauces/new gives me sauces controller new. And now I'm in the sauce controller. Def sauce, def new. This exists, and then it rendered. That's why I see it. Somebody just asked, where are the error messages? Well, that's a good question. Inside this def new, where is @errors? It's nowhere to be found, right? Because this was a brand new request, everything from the old request is gone. All right, there's no more sauce. I cannot reference this variable. I cannot reference this variable inside this request. sad, right? So this is what they mean when they say that these HTTP requests, they're known as stateless. They do not know about each other. Yeah, terrible. So what we want to do is we want to pass in the errors to the next request. Does that make sense? We want to pass this data into the next request so that this request, when it gets it, still has access to it. Does that make sense? That's like a very large leap. I just want to make sure that made sense. Okay, so I want to introduce something. All right, let's do this. Bye, bug. Boop, 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 boop. That was terrible. Let me refresh. Cool. If I hit create sauce, I'm going to enter the bye bug. So now, just want to break this down. There's something called the flash hash. If I just type in flash, it will give me access to the flash hash. Flash hash. It is available globally inside your application. So I can do flash at a key of dolphin, and that will give me what? What happens when you access the key in a hash where the key does not exist? Right, like if I had hashy equals to an empty hash, I don't know, a key of Ian and a value of miss you, right? So we have hashy at a key of Ian gives me, right? If we have at jaboy, right, you get nothing. Cool? So flash, does it have a key of dolphin? No, so I get back nil. So far, so good. It's just a normal hash, but it's available everywhere. The idea of the flash hash is it allows you to persist data for one extra request, which is perfect for error messages because do you want that data, do you want the error messages to stay in your app forever? No, you just want to be like, oh, hey, by the way, username and password is wrong, error. And then when they come back to the page later, they shouldn't see that error. It should just last one request. So, cool. All right, let's get out of this bye bug. Let's get rid of this bye bug. Cool. So we know that, right? We know that inside create, does flash hash exist? Yeah, it does, right? So instead of at errors, instead of passing it in to the view, I can do flash at a key of, what do you want to call this? Right? Like, you done goofed, right? Like, whatever you want. Doesn't matter. This is your custom key, right? So I could take this, and when I redirect to the new sauce path, it gives me render new. Inside my new page, do I have at errors anymore? No. But what do I have instead? Flash at a key of you done goofed. So if I save this and I refresh, it should work fine. If I create, it should fail me. What the? Huh. Did it not display?
Because we did.
Hold on, it should fail, right? It should redirect, and then it should be in here. Oh my God, I didn't save the controller. Embarrassing. Sorry. Let's try one more time. Always, I'm the worst. I'm the worst. All right, ready? Boom. There it is. Because it persists for one extra request, what happens when I hit refresh again? Will it be there? Will the flash data be there? So the flash just allows you to hold data for one extra request. Does everyone understand the difference between render and redirect Yes? Yes. Is that a question or is that like a I understand?
Question.
What is it? What's
So
up?
what if you forget to enter the brand the second time?
Huh?
Is that, like, say you forget to enter the brand in after you get the error message, the error message just goes away.
If you refresh.
Oh, okay, so if you click, it would stay there as long as you keep putting create sauce.
Yeah, like if I hit create sauce, it'll give me this error
Then you
message.
click create sauce again, it's still there.
Yeah, it will reassign what Flash is, and then it will give me this again. Yeah. So are we cool with render versus redirect? Kind of what they do, how they're different, why we would use each? I use the redirect because I already established something doing this. There was already logic that I wrote already. Why would I want to literally, because this is what I did. I copied this, and then I pasted it right here. Right? But if I already have the logic, I'm going to redirect so that this can be utilized. That's what it's for. Right? Keep it clean. Yeah. So render just immediately takes the template, the HTML, the ERB file, and gives it to you using what you currently have. Redirect will make a brand new request and hit the controller action that you specify. This is a large leap. The render redirect always takes a very long time to understand. So I'm going to give you like another few seconds to kind of digest it. The render versus redirect. What are your questions? Like, what does render do? What does redirect do?
Why doesn't it know? I mean, it's in there.
Scope.
But you render the new and then the instance is in the new.
No, render, right? That's the good question. Render will take what's in this file and just send it back to the user as the response. Good question. Doesn't call the action, just throws back the view page, right? Like if I did instead, right? If I did instead of the redirect and I did render, right? Some cool page, will it hit some cool page the method or will it look for a file called some cool page here? Right? Good question. And so we should bring that back. You know? It just throws you the HTML. Yeah.
Can you, could you define, do you have the flexibility to like add arguments to these methods and the controller and pass information along?
Can you, I'm sorry, say again?
Can you define, like give the different methods within the controller arguments and pass information along?
Not directly. You would have to use something like Flash. And then Friday, I will teach you something else. So for example, right, Flash lasts how many requests? If you wanted data to go to the next request, to the next request, to the next request, it's known as sessions. And I will teach you that Friday. But yeah, that's the way to do it. Good question.
If in the view page you're listing all the errors, why is it just telling us about brand?
That's a good question. Why is it just list brand as the only error message? Inside the model, I only have one validation. Right? Good question. Right? Because like if I also had, I don't know, bloop, like flavor, and if I just go create sauce, it should have two.
So the error string is just internally what the attribute is.
The what?
I guess they're just like the error messages themselves are pre-written.
Yeah. The error messages are pre-written using validates because these are built-in validations. All right? So if we're cool with render versus redirect and we're cool with this validates for built-in, we're going to go over the custom validation and showing custom error messages, and that should cover everything. Are we cool? The render redirect is a large leap, so if it's still like, we could talk about it offline. Yes?
So what about the found like persistent data? What else if I put like flavor there and I want to make it some error, I still want to see that stuff I put in. Like why can't I just use an instance variable and create?
Why can't you use instance variable in create? Well, what you can do is, the question is this, right? Let's just say I typed in brand, right? Like cool brand bra, right? I hit create. Only the flavor is blank, but I lose out on what I had here. What you can do is in the controller is you can pass in data, right? Flash key of brand equals to params at a key of sauce at a key of brand. Then inside my new, I can assign a value, a default value for here, if it exists. Does that make sense? Yeah. Cool. I don't really have the time to go into it, but that's exactly like the logic. All right, so if there's anything else on render redirect, flash, and what it does and why it's useful. All right, let's get to some customs. Cool. So I'm going to literally look up Rails custom validations because they're tricky, and I'd like to show you the documentation so I can explain it. Oh, I forgot. I should have been letting this go for like 5 minutes beforehand. Huh. Reload. Yeah. Great, let's all take a 5-minute break. Okay, so we talked about the validates and what that does and how it pre-builds a lot of stuff for you in terms of the validations. If I actually wanted to do validations, right? Why use validations? How does it happen? Cool. Validation helpers. Bloop. This is what we used, right? Validates. Look at all these helpers. You have something called acceptance, which is fine. And then confirmation, cool. You can have like a length, right? Like let's just say your password, right? Like should it be 1 character? No, it needs to be at least 8, and you have to have at least 1 special character. And then you have to put in like, I don't know, a bunch of cool stuff, right? 2 emojis, like, and this is where you would put it in, right? If you had a number and you wanted to make sure that 1, it was a number, cool, but then you can say greater than or equal to. So like, for example, let's just say you're making some sort of app that tests whether or not something's spicy. Do you want someone to put -100 for spiciness? You're like, come on now, don't be like that. Minimum 0, right? So it needs to be greater than or equal to 0. If you want to see, you know what, let's just do it. Watch this, ready? Ready? Just so we can do this. And it goes inside the model, right? So we'll do a little bit of this. Instead of numericality with only integer, we'll put greater than or equal to, and then it'll be 0. And that's how I would do it. I'm sorry, not games played. I'd put heat. Cool. Validates the heat attribute. It's a number, and it must be greater than or equal to 0. Well, let's take a look. Great. Let's put the heat at -5. Boop, boop, boop. Heat must be greater than or equal to 0. Powerful. Cool. Right? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, these are pretty easy to integrate. Now, the custom ones, though, that one's a little trickier. Only it's not. Watch. Custom. Cool. So, boop, boop, boop. Okay, all right. Yeah, okay. Performing custom validations. All right, look at this. Okay, this is what the labs kind of like made you go through. This teaches you everything that's under the hood. Given that lectures are running a little bit long, there's a lot of details that happen under the hood. You're literally accessing the active model validations, creating your own validator class, you do not really have to do this for custom validations and custom error messages. This is just a specific validator class that you want across all of your models, right? So if I had like one error message or one validator that I wanted for all of them, I would create my own class, then I would include it inside the active model. There's another way. You just need to make a custom method. And that is called validate, which is why I had you all hiss at me, because validate and validates are different. So it looks like you run validate on a method. Where is this method? Look at this, like that? Picture-in-picture zoom. You just make it. So let's do that, right? And look at this syntax. Ugh, let's just rip this syntax, right? Because that's what good developers do. Bloop, 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 bloop. Get rid of this. And we want to validate, all right, what do we want to validate about our particular app? What about a sauce should we validate? Well, I mean, there's a new calorie. Let's just say you wanted the heat to be more than 0, but you didn't like this error message. So let's get rid of it. All right, and we'll call this heat needs to be real, right? Cool? It's just a method, right? And if, I don't know, what's an attribute of sauce that we want to test? Right, something like self.heat, which is accessing the heat attribute. If this is less than 0, yeah, if this is less than 0, then you need to do, right, so for the heat attribute, right, come on, dog, come on, dog, come on now, that heat though, right, like this is your custom error message, whatever you want it to be, it doesn't matter, right, if we refresh, thanks to Flash, these should go away. Unbelievable. Oh, I forgot the end. Embarrassing. It was embarrassing. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, cool. If, I don't know, let's just leave the heat blank and see what happens. Anytime you're ready, Rails. Oh my God. For nil class. Oh, right, because I put nil in there. That's embarrassing. Let's do this. Let's put, if it's great, let's put -9. Come on now, that heat though, like this is where your error message is coming from. Cool? Just like, there's like literally 2 minutes. How are we feeling about custom error messages, custom validations? Yeah.
So did you put another, I assume you put another validation above, like the valid expression is true.
Oh yeah, you could just stack them.
Yeah.
Boom, let's throw that right back.
We
Heat.
can just add the comma, we can just add whatever we want.
Huh?
Yeah, we can actually just comma add in heat and flavor and brightness on the same validates.
Say again?
I think we can just make a one line for validates instead of like.
Yeah. I can combine all of them because they're all using presence true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just put commas and just add them all. Right? I mean, sure. Let's just ready. Little brand, little heat, flavor. I think that works. That should work. Let's try it. Did I save it? Oh, I did. Nice. Oh, that's right. Nil class. Fine. And, yeah. Something like that, right?
Shouldn't it already be,
Or. It should be or. Say again?
shouldn't it already like get a let in the validates?
It should. I'm not 100% sure this syntax is correct.
Maybe it's just that one.
Let's find out. Ready? Let's actually put a ridiculous number in here. -1. It should have the other ones in here if it works. Yeah, it does. Interesting. This should also have ran. What does presence true check for? If you filled in something? Is nil technically filling in something? Oh yeah, this right here. Yeah, it's actually just in this method, so I should wrap it, right? If self.heat is equal to nil, then I can do something else, right? Come on.
Could you just do like if self dot?
Huh? I could do also like or. Not really, because then self.heat will evaluate to nil. So I should like move this in here. That's sketch, right? We should just make it its own thing, right? And then like def can a be nil, right? Something like that, and then it would run this one. Cool. Then you would run. It's all Ruby. It's literally all Ruby. That would run like if validate, right? Can a be nil? You know what I'm saying? Can a be nil? Then like run this one. It's all just Ruby. It will run just like Ruby code. So don't think that like you can't do anything you want. Does this make sense? Right? Like this is just a conditional. Then this runs. I think I might be in like a weird like nil loop and this may not work. But the idea is that like you could just write Ruby. You're good at Ruby now. So you can just do whatever you want. It's the power. So anyways, this got like really convoluted. So we're just gonna clean this up a little bit. Bloop, 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 bloop. All right. Cool. Right. Like, is everyone cool with this? Like custom errors, custom validations. All right. So what we went over today is we went over the flash hash and how it allows you to save data from one request to another for one request. We went over validations. We went over custom validations, custom error messages, and displaying errors on the screen. Is everyone cool with that? Does anyone have any questions on any of those topics, how to implement them, or what they mean? All right, that's all I have for you.